Hello everyone, I'm back. Can you tell I'm a mom of two under two? I know it's been a really long time since I filmed. The last videos were like us telling our families that I was pregnant and now I have a baby and he's a month and like 2 weeks now. Sorry, I'm whispering because my 1.5-year-old is sleeping and the Isaac, the one I just had, my little sugar booger, is on the couch, on the bed over here next to me. So if you can hear him breathing, he's just chilling. So I know it's been a long time and I'm really sorry I never kept up with just throughout the journey. My pregnancies are super freaking hard. Like they're so exhausting and very painful actually. The first 5 months for both my kids, I've had severe migraines to the point where I'm pretty much in bed in the dark under the sheets all day crying because it hurts really bad. So to film during that is like impossible because I can't even like move my eyes and that's how bad it hurts. Like the migraines are just so bad. And the doctors are like, that's so weird. Usually people with chronic migraines, they go away when they're pregnant. I'm like, oh, that's great. Well, I have them. And I know a lot of moms, and obviously my doctor said that I could take Tylenol, but I'm like really weird about taking medicine during pregnancy, so I never did that. I know if you're like, why? Tylenol is fine. Whatever I consume the baby gets, and I just was a little weird. So I never took Tylenol, so I literally just pushed through the pain for the first 5 months of my pregnancy. And then after that, I'm 5'1", I'm very small. I'm 1.5 on a good day. But I'm small or short, and when I get pregnant, my belly gets really big. And I've had a previous injury in high school on my right rib, where when everything starts shifting, I can no longer stand for a long time. I can't sit for a long time. Laying down, I can only lay down on my left side because everybody knows you can't lay down on your stomach or your back because it's not good for the baby, and I can't lay on my right side because my ribs are in excruciating pain, so I'm always on my left side. And to stay in one position the whole night, everybody knows it's not comfortable. So it's just, if you can hear him, he's cooing. It's not a fun journey, and I'm very grateful to be pregnant and get pregnant. I know there's so many women out there and my heart goes out to you. I'm very grateful that I have two beautiful, amazing kids, but I don't want to lie about being pregnant because I think that's like dumb in a way. Like I don't enjoy the process of being pregnant. It's really hard on my body. So yeah, that's why I didn't film, and I wish I did, because not only for you guys to see like my journey, but like I want to see this process later on in life and show my kids like what I went through. But you know, life happened, so I didn't do it. And I wanted to put makeup on for this video, but I'm like, why am I gonna fake that I have the energy or time? Oh my god, sorry if you can hear the ambulances. Why am I gonna fake that I look good when I'm like just had a newborn? Because it's definitely not the case. I've literally had my hair in a bun, haven't done my skincare routine in months, and I'm a mess. So this is me in all my glory after having a newborn, and if you're a mother, you know exactly what I mean. So I went to pick up the baby because he is the hiccup for my little boo-boo. This is Isaac. This is the newest addition to the family. He's perfect. He's very light complected like his father, as you can tell. We just don't look alike, but I love him so much. Anyway, I wanted to talk about my labor and delivery because it was something. So I was 41 weeks, and I went in for an ultrasound because if you're past your due date, they recommend an ultrasound to make sure the baby's still doing okay. And my OB told me before my ultrasound, like a week before I had it, she's like, just bring your hospital bag just in case. Sometimes they'll just send you into labor and delivery because the baby doesn't have enough fluid or all this other things. And I'm like, okay, like whatever, I'll just have my hospital bag ready. Not thinking anything of it, I just had it in my bag. I'm like, I'm just gonna go have the ultrasound. So I had the ultrasound, and she was checking the baby, obviously, fluid. And then she comes to the part where she's like, I have to see the fetal movement, so whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So she's sitting there, and this one did not want to move. So we're there for, I'm not even kidding, 40 minutes where she's just on my belly telling me to move side to side, like trying to get this baby to move. And he only moved a bit. So we were done with the ultrasound. She's like, I'm gonna go talk to the doctor and I'll be right back. I was like, okay, like that's fine. I'm texting Carlos. I'm like, hey, I think everything went well. Like cause I told her like, oh yeah, he was moving a lot this morning when I was eating. She's like, okay, that's normal. Like it's not a big deal. The baby's probably just sleeping. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm thinking, appointment's over. I'm going home. Not a big deal. So the doctor comes in and she's like, okay, so I'm gonna start with the big news. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And she's like, I'm gonna send you straight to delivery. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go straight there. I'm like, what? And she's like, you're gonna go into labor today and you're gonna meet your little one. I'm like, what? Like, I was just in shock. And she's like, the fetal movements didn't, like he didn't pass that test. He's supposed to score an 8 and he scored like a 4 or something. I don't know how they evaluate that. Obviously, I'm not a technician, doctor, whatever. So she's like, you're past your due date, the baby's ready to come out, like baby's full term, we just want to be safe and have the baby. And I'm like, what? Like, I was just like, okay, like, do I just go straight there? She's like, yep, just go park your car in the garage and just go, they're waiting for you. And so I'm like, okay, oh, sorry, Papa, I'm sorry. Okay, okay. So I texted their dad because their dad is at work because, oh my babe, because he doesn't think I'm having the baby that day either. So I texted, I was like, can I call you? And he's like, yeah. So I called him and I was like, guess what? And he's like, shut up. Like he just knew. And I was like, I'm going into labor. And he's like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, they're going to induce me. The baby didn't pass. I just told him everything that happened. So he flies out of work and I go straight to labor and delivery. And it was just crazy because it just didn't seem real. I felt like everything, oh, Papa, I know your hiccups, baby, your hiccups. Milk break. So yeah, they're taking my vitals. I'm trying to like get my stuff situated because my bag was just there. Like I was just, I don't know, I guess I was just overwhelmed because that obviously was not my birth plan. But honestly, whose birth plan goes according to plan? So Carlos gets there in like 20 minutes. He flies out of work, which was crazy, but it was also really nice that he was there because I was like, I was kind of panicking because I wanted a natural birth. And when they induce you, they use a drug called Pitocin. I was induced with my first Carlos, and if you've been induced, you know that Pitocin goes from 0 to 100 really fucking fast. And I wanted to go natural because I didn't want an epidural. I wanted to just let my body do its own thing, but that didn't happen. So they started the Pitocin, everything was fine, going good. I was going through the contractions, breathing through them. They weren't so close together. And then a few more hours come in and the contractions are getting closer. They're getting a lot stronger. And it's hard. It's really hard to push through them. So I asked the nurse, can you please check me? It's been a few hours. And when I got there, it was 2 centimeters dilated, 70% effaced. So I was doing well, like, in that little area, but when she checked me, she's like, you're 4 centimeters dilated and still 70% effaced, and I'm like, so I waited it out a few more hours, and by this time, the contractions were less than a minute apart, and your girl she was going through it. It's really hard when they're like that. So I was like, please, can you check me again? Like, I don't know if I can keep going, if I'm like, whatever. So she checked me and I was still the same. And at that point, if you're 4 centimeters dilated and only 70% effaced, and the contractions are that close together and they're so bad that you're just like, get the anesthesiologist, get me this fucking epidural. I can't do this anymore. I'm in so much pain. So she's like, okay, like I'll get him. She comes back, she goes, he's gonna be like 10-15 minutes. And I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't seem long, but it is a very long time if you're in a lot of pain. Like, that's like 15 more contractions that I had to go through that were, feels like my whole body was getting torn apart. So Carlos is there. He's like literally the best. He's just like talking, like coaching me through everything, telling me to calm down and like breathe, and like massaging me and pressing up against my back, lower back. If you had contractions, you know that pressure in your back really does relieve like a little bit, even if it's just a tiny bit, it relieves something. But he was like so great, and I'm like, I can't do this, like they're never coming. And he's like, yes they are, just like keep going. So finally he comes. I get this thing, and this epidural, I heard it's not supposed to be painful, but it fucking hurt. Like, it was very painful. So whatever, after that, it was amazing. I had the best birth ever. Literally, it was like a complete 180. I felt absolutely nothing. I'm laying there and they're like, okay, like try and go to sleep, because once this baby's out, we all know you're not gonna sleep for months. And she was right. But I'm sleeping, the nurse comes in, she's like, call me when you feel like you need to use the washroom, like you need to start pushing. I was like, okay. An hour goes by, she comes in, do you need to push yet? And I'm like, no, like we're fine. She's like, okay. She comes in 20 minutes, like, do you need to push yet? I'm like, no. She comes in one last time, she goes, you don't feel anything. And I'm like, I literally can't feel anything below my waist. Like, I don't know what's going on down there. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna check you. You okay, Papa? You like mommy's voice? She's like, I'm gonna check you and see where you're at, and we'll go from there. And I said, okay. She checks me, and the baby is literally right there. Like, she's like, you need to start pushing right now. This baby's about to come out on its own if you don't. And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, you literally can't feel anything. I said, no, I can't feel a single thing. Oh, Papa, I'm sorry. So they get the doctor in, and she's like, okay, like, let's start pushing. So she's like, okay, when you have your next contraction, push. And I'm like, I don't know when I'm contracting. I literally had no feeling from the waist down. Not a single thing. I couldn't even feel the pressure of the contractions at that point. So she's like, okay, you're having one now, because they can tell on the monitor. So I was pushing, and then I stopped pushing because I thought I was done, because they counted to 10. And they're like, you can push again. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I literally don't know when I'm having a contraction. I know. Isaac is a baby that likes to be like up and moving all the freaking time. Like, he'll know when I'm sitting and like not walking around. Up close and personal, Jesus. I went to start editing the video and realized that my phone cut off, and I'm like, okay, my storage is full. So back to what I was saying. Isaac's just needs to be walked around. He will scream and cry until I get up. I don't know how he freaking knows I'm sitting down. He knows. But anyway, so the doctor told me when my next contraction was, and I was pushing, and I got Isaac's head out. Like, it was insane. I couldn't believe I got it on the first try, and they're like, okay, like, stop pushing, your contraction's done. So I'm pushing him. I don't hear my son, but I hear everybody like freaked out that I got him out on the first try. The second one the second contraction comes, and I push his body out. Like, it was literally 2 pushes, well, 3. I don't count the first one because I literally didn't know what the hell was going on, but I had 2 pushes. It was less than 5 minutes, and I had my son in my arms. Like, it was so awesome. They let me like grab him and like take him out and put him on my chest, and it was like so amazing. I was still in disbelief that even Carlos, like if you saw his face, like after the first push, he's like, what the hell? Like he was just like so freaked out, because with our first, it was like 45 minutes long of me pushing him out, and it just felt forever, and it was like the hardest thing. I literally popped every blood vessel in my face. I'm gonna insert a picture of what I looked like after he finally came out, because that's how hard I was pushing. But with Isaac, like it was like literally nothing, I guess because he was just like so close to already coming out, like that was just that easy. But it was insane. It was awesome. It was the best feeling in the world. Like if you have a baby and once that child is finally like in your arms, just like everything that you went through with pregnancy and, you know, the birth and labor, and it's all worth it. So yeah, my son is waking up, so perfect timing. I'm so glad I realized that it didn't record like sooner rather than later. But I love you guys so much. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!